Hello. So here we go. First review of 2018. And what have I got for you? Okay, I got this. Let me turn it on. This is the Attilla i8. Simple is happiness, it says on the box. So let me just read you the specs from the box because we'll discuss this in a while. So, specification: Android 6 processor, 1.5 octa-core, 1.5 gigahertz octa-core, SIM card, dual SIM, system memory 32 GB ROM, 3 GB RAM, camera front 8, back 13, LCD 5.5 full HD IPS screen, and this is a 4G LTE. Before I forget, now let me just see what was in here, because I think it came with some things. You know, I'm not an unboxer, but it did come with some things because people often ask about the what comes with it, and it's earphones, silicone cover, the thing for your the ring for sticking on the back to hold the phone. So you get a few accessories with it. Okay, so let's look at it. Let me try and sort out my monitor again. Ever since Android 8 update for my Sony, the LG software don't work that well, so it keeps turning off anyway. That's my problem. I will deal with it. Okay, so do I need to tell you what it looks like? Okay, I chose the red one because nearly every phone that I've been choosing recently was red, and then it was coming to me it was gold. So eventually 360 Sook got me a red phone. Okay, so what is the design style of this? Well, of course it's iPhone, probably iPhone 7 design. The mock dual camera there, I'm assuming it's one is fake, the other is not. So the on the whole, it looks pretty decent, and also it feels quite decent. It's a wee bit heavy in the hand, but it actually feels pretty pretty good. You know, it feels well made. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's got this kind of, it says 3D curved on the box, but no, it's more 2.5D 2.5D. Let me get rid of these messages, old messages here. It's got a screen protector on it, and I think there's an extra one in the box. But no, it's a nice enough phone. I would just say that the only thing I'm not too keen on is, and I don't mind heavy phones, this one feels really quite heavy. So, I mean, that on first impressions, that is what I would say. It's a wee bit heavy, but doesn't feel cheap. Okay, I like the colour. I like the white round the top and at the bottom. So let's get into the specification. So I did Antutu, and let's open it up and see. For some reason I could not get Antutu, what do you call the latest Antutu. This seems to be an older version of it. So Antutu here is reading 16.746. Now that seems low to me, okay, because it feels faster than that. So this is what, again, I've been saying about Antutu. It's, you know, really, if I don't think it's always that accurate, to be honest with you. So you know, this feels faster than any of these Mi One phones, which were getting over 20,000, and it feels as good as the CCIT P8, and maybe even faster, you know. So I don't think 16 is relative, really. But I just don't feel it. It feels okay in the hand. Okay, so spec wise, here we're confirming 3 GB of RAM, definitely, but it's saying here that it's a 1.8 quad core CP8 CPU, sorry, and it's Mali 400 GPU. So again, I then looked at, let me see, here we go. Where is it? CPU-Z, sorry, I'm half asleep. Okay, so CPU-Z is saying MediaTek 6580 1.8 quad core, confirming the battery is it's saying is 4138. Now I'm not sure if that's right or not, but the battery is pretty decent. System, device, and it's confirming. Oh, sorry, that's an advert. It's confirming the memory of 3 GB and 3 GB of RAM, 32 GB of ROM. Now the thing I did notice about this, and I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. Let me just go here. So when I looked at storage, it's saying 29.8 GB used of 32 GB. What the heck? What's happening? So there's something, I'm not exactly sure what's going on, because I don't have anything on here. So I'm going to reformat it, and I will leave maybe a comment on the once I finish this video, because I'm not exactly sure what's happening there. But I noticed the first time that it was saying that there was only like 15 GB of the 32 GB available, and I'm thinking, well, Android takes up all that, and I haven't downloaded many programs. So let's see what happens when I reformat it. So could it be that it's 16 GB? Possibly. And it's just showing, but it's I tried CPU-Z, CPU-X, and it said, let me just get this right, system, 3 GB of RAM. What's this saying about the battery? 4. Let me see, I can't see what's... and, before I forget, it's 720p, not full HD. So, again, they're, talking nonsense on the specs on the box, which is kind of par for the course, really, for these companies, which is a shame, really. And it doesn't make any sense. Don't lie about it. People will still buy this. It's a decent enough phone, so don't lie about it, because if I bought this and say I find out that it's not the spec, I'm going to then tell my friend, and I'll say, buy a phone that is true, to the spec. There's plenty of at the same price. Now I got this for, with shipping, probably about 360 from 350 from 360 souk, so it was 350 reals, 360 reals from 360 souk. Okay, so yeah, again, we will see that it's battery ran out on my camera. So yeah, just as I said, I got this from 360 souk. I have no affiliation with 360 souk. I just will buy some stuff there because they have reasonably good deals, and these relatively unknown Chinese brands, it's nice for somebody to at least give people an idea of what they're like. Now, most of the time, I'm going to test them for a period of time, then I sell them on, and I'm not saying that they don't have problems, but if they do, what I usually ask the whoever is the seller will be just return it, and I will refund or replace it for you. I don't make any I don't really make any money from selling these, but usually I will try and then buy something else that is so that I can make another video for all our friends to have a look at. So I wanted to show you. Let me open VLC. There is a video here. So I'm still I'm unclear about this storage issue, but you know, so you will see and hear that sound not bad from that speaker. It's not a stereo speaker, but it's not bad, loud enough, and the picture is pretty good. This screen is, although in the box full HD, this is actually 720p screen. I think it is decent, plenty bright, and as an LCD, I think it is above average. That's what I will say. And that's good. It's certainly, over the last couple of phones, it's certainly felt the most kind of premium. It's a metal body, unibody. I wouldn't imagine that the glass that is, although it has a screen protector, I wouldn't imagine that the glass on here is scratch resistant. So you would have to make sure and keep a screen protector on that. So you would don't, the usual get. It's very easy to scratch. So who would buy it? Okay, well, if you like red, I would buy it. For the price that I paid, I think it is half decent. If you put your SD card in there, you can load it up with your movies and music. Now, I listen to music via my RHA headphones, which were I can't remember if I said, but anyway, the sound was pretty decent, and through my Sony's, so Sony Bluetooth, which was again reasonable. I had no complaints whatsoever. So what's the downsides? Well, the downsides really are the usual thing when you're buying these phones. Why they seem to want to not tell us the the spec, but if it's quad core, it's 3 GB of RAM, and as I said, the actual using it feels relatively swift. I didn't notice any lag at all, and I didn't play any games on it, but don't expect games to run, but don't expect intensive games to work really fast on this, because I'm sure you will be disappointed. But again, second phone, a gift that you want to give, it's Android 6, so you can obviously put your SD card in there, and then make it part of the system memory. You have a really good kind of media player for carrying about, and you might want to, certainly like a travel phone, you don't want to take your more expensive phone. So these are the things that these cheaper phones will can do. Now, the problem a lot of the times, not really the hardware with any of these phones, and anybody who's used to buying unknown Chinese brands will know this. It's whether the specs are real or not, it's never really usually the hardware. It's the software and the implementation of the software. So my advice would be is that don't be scared, but you are taking a bit of a risk, and some people have had problems with their phones hanging, different phones, but it's always the same problem, and it's usually with the Android version, and if it's not particularly well implemented by whatever company, then you may be struggling with it hanging, and you're having to reformat it, and really it's a bit of a pain in the butt. Of course, the other thing, and it's not just with budget phones, because if you can remember back, if anybody ever bothered to look at the Lay TV phone, which wasn't a budget phone, it was over $200. It had malware on it, and you know, so a lot of these phones will have a malware, which is usually to do with installing crap programs or games, and it's quite difficult to get rid of. Now, it might not be impossible, but it just depends. You can try it with King Root, because Stubborn Trojan Killer needs to have your phone rooted so that it can get rid of these. So sometimes it will work, sometimes it won't, and you know, it's hard for me to say. It's, you know, I wouldn't like to think of people wasting their money on phones, but look, that's the reality. If you're looking at a budget unknown brand, there is a risk. So I'm not saying that, and I've said this before in other videos, that to buy it from 360 Souk or King Souk anywhere, you know, but if we're in the GCC, at least souk.com now is an Amazon company, and does, you know, what they sell have a guarantee, so you would have a better chance of getting things returned. Now, of course, you have to pay a bit more on Souk, but perhaps that kind of safety net is better than looking at these other online companies. So, I mean, that's just my thoughts. I'm not telling you to buy from anywhere, but. And I've heard people have problems trying to return from stuff to Souk. But you know, now it's Amazon company. In theory, it should be better. In theory, so you know, and hopefully it will only get better. The Amazon only recently took over it, so you know, I just, if you've got a spare 300-400 reals, maybe you can take a chance. If you're worried, then really go for a budget brand. If you're looking at a budget brand that for the most part is pretty decent, is Inju, and look at their line of phones, because they're pretty stable. I'm not saying you don't have any problems. All phones have problems. I'm having a problem with this phone at the moment, I think because of the Android 8 update. A lot of the other programs are not being optimized for it. So, you know, every phone will have some issues. I wouldn't let that stop me from, you know, buying a phone. So that's it, really. Anybody got any questions? The battery, I can't remember if I said, the battery on this I think is pretty decent. So it's well worth it for that. If it's over 4,000 mAh, it is very decent. Perhaps that's why it's so heavy. So you know, you're getting a decent battery. You get some accessories in that box, so it's not bad. That's my take on the Atilla i8. And just FYI, on 360 Souk, I was just checking. It lists either, it says Atilla i8 or Atilla i8 Plus. So I'm not sure. This doesn't say anything on the box as a plus, but they both look the same. 32 GB ROM and 3 GB of RAM, so I'm not exactly sure. So anybody got any questions, any comments, etc., of course I will do my best to answer them. This will be hopefully getting sold soon, so that I can have something else to review for you. So that's it. First review 2018 done. Atilla i8. Simple is happiness. Bye.